Welcome back to the video. Today we're doing our week 4 power rankings. It was a crazy week 3, a lot of movement on our list, and we're just going to jump right into it. The worst team in the league that I have ranked down one spot from last week is the Chicago Bears, unfortunately. And I gotta say, where are the Bears? I gotta say, I do feel for Bears fans, despite all the trash talk in the offseason between Panthers fans and Bears fans about that trade. I will say I thought the Bears would be able to back it up. I thought that the fans, while they were being annoying about the trade to the Panthers fans, they were right, though. Feel to take that leap. DJ Moore is going to be a huge impact. The team was really going to kind of move in the right direction. And, I mean, you're 0-3, and I don't know when you're going to win a game. This week you play the Broncos. I don't even know if you win that. It's a very defeating feeling, so I do feel bad for Bears fans. Really not a lot to look forward to at this point, except maybe the draft. But, you know, I think you got to look at maybe front office type stuff at this point, if maybe it's a franchise issue rather than just players issue or a mix of both or whatever. There's a lot to it for the Browns, or for the Bears, unfortunately. Sorry, I'm so used to saying how bad the Browns are. It just keeps coming in my head. But yeah, so Bears are number 32. And then joining them, down 3 spots from last week, is the Broncos. I'm going to be pretty honest. If you get 70 points hung on you, you're going to drop a few spots on my rankings. And, yeah, the Broncos lost by 50 points, and it wasn't even 50-0. It was 70-20. You let 70 points be scored on you. And if they really want to go for the record, they probably could have kicked it, made it 73, but they decided not to. And yeah, the Broncos, you know, I said a few weeks ago that it looked like they were better. Even though they were still losing, it looked like some of the issues from last year were kind of cleaned up, and maybe it'd take a few weeks and they start kind of showing some promise. But this is a massive punch to the throat for the Broncos. So, again, 0-3. It'll be a thriller to watch those two teams figure out how to move the ball this weekend. And then number 30, and actually staying put, is the Panthers. While the Panthers are bad, they did compete with the Seahawks, and Andy Dalton played a really good game, to be honest, and I don't know what it looks like moving forward, whether Bryce comes back next week or if Dalton keeps playing. The Panthers, regardless, are not very good, and they have a lot of injury concerns really all over the team, especially defensively, so they're not very good. They're just going to stay there as is. Pretty competitive game, but of course not a win. And then down 3 spots from last week is going to be the Raiders. You know, you have Garoppolo in concussion protocol now. You lose to the Steelers, and you elect to kick instead of just go for the touchdown. I don't know. I don't really get the reasoning there. But yeah, you lose that game, and it looks like the Raiders just in for another really rough year under Josh McDaniels. And I'm not going to lie, there's not a lot to look forward to if I'm a Raiders fan. It's tough. It sucks losing year for year. As a Panthers fan, I know that, so I do feel bad for these teams that are on the end here. And the Raiders, they're just not showing a whole lot of promise at this point. I think Garoppolo is doing fine. I think Adams is doing fine, but as I said in the offseason, I didn't see Garoppolo as like this massive upgrade over Carr. I think at a certain point, you just have to take your chance on a young quarterback and try and just blow up the roster and redo things. And then actually down 4 spots from before is the Saints. People might not like me dropping them down that far because the Saints have played well up until that point. But in my opinion, that was really the Saints' first game against a pretty decent team. And they blew a 17-0 lead in the 4th quarter. And that's all there is to it. Derek Carr gets hurt. Jameis Winston comes in, and you don't score a single point. 17-0 in the 4th quarter, and you lose, I believe it was 18-17. So, very tough loss. On the bright side, though, for the Saints, you do have Alvin Kamara back this week. So, again, not all hope is lost. You're in a very winnable division, but you are a bit farther down on the power rankings this week. And then the team joining them in the NFC South, down 2 spots from last week, is the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are playing pretty decently, but, I mean, let's just be honest. They weren't going to beat the Eagles. They're just not on that level quite yet. They moved the ball okay at times, but overall, they're just not good enough. But again, they are better than what I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be probably 1-2 or 0-3 at this point, and they're 2-1. So still, not a hope is lost. Same as the Saints, a very winnable division, but you lose to a very good Eagles team, and you do drop down a couple spots from last week. And then kind of coming back down to earth now is the Rams, down 3 spots. I really don't know what to make of the Rams, whether or not I think they are for real, if that makes sense. The first 2 weeks were not a fluke by any means. They moved the ball great, but That Bengals loss really shows what happens when the defense takes advantage of that offensive line. They had a backup tackle on Trey Hendrickson, and they made zero adjustments for that poor guy to try and block Hendrickson, and the Bengals got 6 sacks on Matthew Stafford and 2 interceptions. The Bengals defense went crazy. It was a very winnable game for the Rams. The Bengals offense was the best we've seen so far this year. Very clear Burrow is not at full health, but he did make a bit more plays than he had previously. So it's a very winnable game, and you kind of blow up an offense. You get Puka Nacua involved a little bit toward the end. Otherwise, not a whole lot going on. And the Rams, I felt like this could probably happen at some point where it kind of catches up to them, just the lack of talent on the roster. Stafford, I think he's now 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions on the season, so not, or maybe I think 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions on the season, so not great. And overall, the Rams, a whole lot wasn't expected of them, so for them to be 1-2, I feel like it can be a lot worse. So we'll see how the season progresses for them. And then rounding out the bottom 8 is a team up 7 spots, and that is the Cardinals for their big win over the Dallas Cowboys. That was a really crazy game, and we're going to get to the Cowboys. Don't you worry. We'll get to the Cowboys. I'll talk more about that game. But the Cardinals, you know, I said this, I think, last video. The Cardinals were, at that point, they were, 0-2. And I was like, the Cardinals could very easily be 2-0. They compete against Washington week 1, and they had a massive lead in the Giants that they just happened to blow. Like, they've actually played pretty well, all things considered. They don't have a bunch of great playmakers on that roster, especially on defense, but they're competing. They're playing pretty decent football. When Kyler Murray comes back, it's going to be interesting to see where the season is at and if they can kind of try and salvage it, what the division looks like at that point, because they're in a very tough one with the Seahawks and the 49ers at the top there. So we'll see how that goes, but big win for the Cardinals. I know their fans got to be happy about that. And then up 5 spots, and a video I just did before this focusing on the Houston Texans quarterback, CJ Stroud. The Texans are up 5 spots from before. And if you didn't see my CJ Stroud video, go check that out. It's just my most recent video talking about just how good he is playing to open up the year and his NFL career. And the Texans really, really beating the Jaguars pretty bad. I will say it's not like the most surprising thing in the world, because the Texans actually are, they were 9-1. Now they are 10-1 against the Jaguars in Jacksonville the last 11 times they've played. So they have a pretty good record against them in Jacksonville for whatever reason. But still, I picked the Jaguars this past week because I thought they're the better team. I think they're going to win. And the Texans showed up. You want to take away that crazy kick return for touchdown by like their fullback or something. Despite that, CJ Stroud played really, really good. He put the team in positions to win. And honestly, he had a couple passes that were dropped that could have been touchdowns. So he's playing really, really good. Keep building around him, seeing him keep develop. I'm really excited to see how he kind of develops over the course of the season, because he's off to a really hot start. And it's a very winnable division. Maybe the Texans surprise people and win the division. It'd be really cool. I'm here for it. I like Stroud, and a really nice start for the Texans. And then down one from last week, they just slowly keep slipping down, is the Minnesota Vikings. Once again, the Vikings 0-3, and they could just as easily be 3-0. They really could. I mean, week 1, you lose to the Buccaneers. It's a bad loss. You fumble, like literally fumble the game away against the Eagles in primetime football. And this past weekend, you were on the, 2-yard line with that interception. It's just unlucky. It bounced out of Hawkinson's hands that way, but really tough. Winnable games. You could be 3-0 instead you're 0-3. You got to kind of look around and see where to go from here as far as the direction of your entire team, because that defense, while Brian Flores is getting those guys in positions to make plays, it doesn't have the talent, and they're going to struggle, and they are struggling. So we'll see where they go from there. But the Vikings are down to number 23. And then up 5 spots. Maybe you guys think this is too high. I don't know, but I have the Colts here. Big win over the Ravens. And honestly, I did pick the Ravens, of course. I thought it wouldn't be even close for the Colts, to be honest with you. But the Colts have shown that they are pretty good. They are competitive. And the Ravens, I'm a little unsure about now, and I'll talk more about that whenever we get to them. But the Colts, I like what I saw from them, and that was without Anthony Richardson. I saw some people saying like they should just start Minshew. No, don't do that. It was a great win, but don't do that. Richardson was playing really, really good up until his concussion, so I want to see him back in the lineup. But a big win for the Colts. And yeah, it's a great game, up to number 22 for the Colts. And next, and they didn't move at all. They were number 21 last week, and they're number 21 this week, is the New York Jets. It just sucks. Every time the Jets play, it just sucks, because it's all like what would be happening. Like, what would be happening if Rodgers was playing this game right now? That's all I think about. and because I was just so excited to see him on the Jets. So really disappointing. I'm sure they'll probably keep falling unless they do something about quarterback, because Zach Wilson is not getting it done. And yeah, it's not a lost season. I mean, it's really not, but they're not doing anything to help themselves as far as quarterback goes. So really rough for the Jets, but yeah, they're number 21. So last week, I moved this team up because I was so happy with their huge comeback win and just how good their young quarterback looked against a really good defense. And then they go out and get slapped by the Bills like that. And Washington finds themselves down 5 spots from last week. I have a lot of faith in this team. I've been very vocal about that in all my videos where it's been appropriate to talk about them. I love their offense. I love the potential of their offense. And their offense has played pretty good, but that was bad. I mean, 4 interceptions for Sam Howell. I mean, it was kind of like his first really bad game for being his first full year starting. So it's bound to happen. Really tough. Got to drop him down after that. I think realistically, they're probably like 2 spots higher than this. Would be like a fair ranking. But as of right now, obviously I have them down here. But I think before I had them a little bit too high. I wanted to see what they would do against the Bills. It was a big game for me to see like what they really have, and they didn't have a whole lot against them. So they're down 5 spots. And yeah, it is what it is, but Washington can still continue to get better because they have a young quarterback. So, and honestly, Sam Howell has played pretty good. I don't want to like bring him down. He's played good, just his first really bad game. And then the other team I was high on that's also down 5 spots is the Tennessee Titans. Last week I said how happy I was they beat the Chargers because that's like the offense I wanted to see from the Titans, and that's the offense I thought that we were going to be getting. And then it just disappeared again against the Browns. And I will say I'm not gonna like rip on the Titans too much because the Browns defense is playing incredible. So I want to give a lot of credit there. They've only allowed 1 touchdown in 39 snaps on defense. So huge defense from the Browns. And it slowed down the offense. And the Titans offense isn't incredible by any means. I think it's better than what they're showing right now. But great defense. It happens. Titans are down 5 spots. Next up is the Giants. They're only down 1 spot, and let's be honest, I don't think a lot of people saw them beating the 49ers in Thursday Night Football, so I didn't drop them down too far because I thought it was honestly like kind of a fair ranking to have them here. Like, yeah, they lost. I'll drop them down 1 because some other teams kind of moved around, but nothing crazy. I didn't expect much from them that game anyway. We'll see how the rest of their season goes, but as of right now, I think it's a good spot for the Giants to be because they've had a really bad loss to the Cowboys, but a really nice comeback win against the Cardinals. So we'll just see what happens with them, but yeah, I have them right there. Then to finish out the bottom 16 is the Atlanta Falcons, who are down just 1 spot from last week. And honestly, I mean, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. Like, you lose to the Lions. It was a pretty competitive game, I would say. Ridder didn't look great at times. Had a really bad overthrow to Kyle Pitts, which could have been a monster play if he completes that pass. And I think that's going to get exposed more and more as the season goes on. But again, you have a really nice running back duo. Bijan Robinson is already what people thought he would be and more, so that's really good. Falcons defense as well, really, really good. So it's there. You just got to get the quarterback situation figured out because Ridder is just not he's not doing his job as of right now. He's not making all the throws he needs to make. But maybe the Falcons play at home for an entire season. They'll go 17-0 since Ridder never loses at home. I don't know. But that is the bottom 16. And yeah, now onto the top 16. All right, I think I finally got this ranking right. Up 4 spots from last week is the Browns. So after the week 1 win, I had them like way up there, up 5 spots, super high on the Browns. And then they lose to, who was it after that? I think the Steelers. And I was kind of like, okay, pretty poor offensive play. I'm going to drop them down a little bit. And then you go out and you just smack the Titans. And honestly, they could have had another touchdown because that Amari Cooper one that they called out of bounds was clearly not out of bounds. So the Browns offense much better this week. Browns defense still really good. I had that 16, which again is up what I said, I think 4 spots from last week. So I think this is probably the best rank I can probably give the Browns as of right now. And the AFC North is wide open. So if the Browns won it, it's there. Because 1 spot above them, up 3 spots from last week, is the Steelers, who did beat the Browns. So I feel like it is appropriate to have them just that 1 spot higher. When it comes down to teams like the Buccaneers and the Saints right next to each other, or like the Browns and the Falcons, or the Browns and the Steelers, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. Like, if you disagree with like the Browns behind them, it's 1 spot. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So if you guys think that, it's totally valid. I'm not gonna fight you on it. Just yeah, throw that out there as well. But Steelers, you get the win in Las Vegas. The offense still just it doesn't look like how you want it to look. Kenny Pickett looks better at times and then makes some very questionable reads. Like he threw probably the easiest pick six Marlon Humphrey will ever get in his life, and he just happened to drop it. Really bad pass, and then he sees the busted coverage and throws it deep to Calvin Austin for a touchdown. So very inconsistent from Pickett. I don't love that. I'm also kind of on the bus now of having Jaylen Warren play more than Najee Harris because, quite frankly, Jaylen Warren produces more when he's on the field. The Steelers defense speaks for itself. Really, really good. And yeah, one spot above the Browns at number 15. And then up 3 spots is the Patriots. This is one I can see people not liking me have so high up there because it was just the Jets that they beat. But, I mean, the Jets are still a really good defense. I know the offense isn't great, but they are a great defense. The Patriots, one of those low-scoring-ish games where they got the win, and they're playing better than last year for sure. They're in that race for the division. I don't think they're going to win it, but they are competing way more than they were last year. So, got to give them props there. They're up 3 spots to number 14. Next is the Packers, and this is another one I could see Packers fans not liking, but let's be realistic here. The Packers actually didn't move at all, despite their huge comeback win, and honestly, it's because I think you should have beat the Saints regardless. It was a great comeback win. I don't want to take that away from Jordan Love, but you really shouldn't have been in that position anyway. I feel like they probably could have won the game a lot easier had they moved the ball earlier in the game when they had guys open. Jordan Love slipped on a really bad 4th down attempt, which would have been a big play to his tight end, I believe. So the Packers, I didn't move. I still have them at number 13. I think they're a great team. I wasn't moved by them being the Saints, but I was moved by Jordan Love having the confidence to come back in the 4th quarter down 17 points and beat the Saints in his first full year starting. Only his 3rd game or 4th. I mean, I guess 3rd game of the season. He's played more games than that, but still, really, really liked that. So I don't want to take that away from the Packers, but again, they should be the Saints a bit easier, and that's all I'm saying. But this week, I believe he gets back Christian Watson for the first time this year and Aaron Jones. That'll be huge for the Packers offense. And yeah, number 13. And next, down 4 spots is the Jaguars. The Jaguars, week 1, it was like that's what I thought they were going to do. Calvin Ridley was super involved. They looked really good. And again, like I said, they do have a bad track record with the Texans and playing them at home in Jacksonville. But it's not clicking. Trevor Lawrence is hitting guys on target, but it's being dropped. Calvin really had a huge drop pretty far down toward the goal line. So it's rough. I think things will click for them as the season goes on because they are still a really young team, all things considered. It's really Trevor Lawrence's second year because his first year just a abomination with Urban Meyer. So I'd say Trevor is still adapting. I think he's capable of playing better than what he is right now. But to be fair, I think the entire team is capable of playing better than they are right now. So we'll see if they take those steps or not. But they are down 4 spots from last week because, it was a bad loss. Just overall, record aside, it was a bad loss. And then next, and again, they have not moved despite their win, is the Lions. I still like the Lions a lot, but beating the Falcons, I don't think, I think it's a nice game to bounce back off that Seahawks overtime loss and go win. But I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world. I think it was expected, so you did your job. I'm not going to put them above any of the teams in front of them because the weeks they had, but still a great win for the Lions, and they're 2-1. So, the hype is there. They're still playing really well. And one of the teams above them is the Chargers, up 2 spots from last week. Very nice win against the Vikings. That's what the Chargers really need to help try and turn the season around for them because they were way too good to be, 0-2 at that point? They played 2 pretty good games and 2 very winnable games. The only thing, though, is Mike Williams tears his ACL, which is just really brutal because now Quentin Johnson has to kind of step up. And while he, I guess is built similar to Mike Williams, the play style isn't totally there. I think maybe it was in college, but I think there's two different receivers, really. So he's not going to fill the exact role Mike Williams had. And it's going to be a tough loss for the Chargers for sure. So really brutal. Good win, but, at what cost is kind of what I'm getting at. And then up 1 spot from last week is the Seahawks. Beating the Panthers, again, it's not the craziest win in the world. The Panthers are not very good. The defense is, it's pretty good, but a lot of guys hurt. It wasn't a huge test for them. It was a winnable game. They needed to win it because it was a pretty bad team they were playing, and they won. So, not really anything for me to break down there, I feel like. Nice win, and they are number 9, and that is Going into the final 8 teams, and yeah, some teams definitely moved around. So first off, up one spot from last week is the Bengals. It's a big win for them. The defense was just so good, really exploited the Rams' offensive line, got to Stafford, forced turnovers. Really, really good game. Offense, like I said before, not quite the same. It looked better. The play calling looked better, but Burrow is just not full health. But I think the biggest thing is that he didn't re-aggravate this week. So, hopefully it gets better. But still, it was a needed win. They went and got the win. And yeah, they did move up one spot to number 8. And then down one spot. And honestly, I could have moved them down a lot more than this. But the Ravens are down one spot from last week at number 7. I could have dropped them a lot farther after losing to the Colts. I feel like the Ravens are a good team. But here's what I want to talk about, though. Because I said earlier I talked about the Ravens like whenever I got to the Ravens. And I'm not seeing the offense explode like I really wanted it to, and what I think it's capable of. Odell already hurt the ankle thing, and it's not supposed to be serious, but it's just not as explosive as I think it was kind of advertised to be. I think Lamar played really, really good in Cincinnati with the Bengals, but other than that, it's just I'm a little nervous for the Ravens. They're not quite what I thought they would be. Still good. Zay Flowers is still getting involved. I think he's like one of the best, if not the best, rookie wide receiver. But it's just not quite there, in my opinion. I think they're going to struggle when they play some better teams because the Colts gave them a game, and the Colts, while they are good, are way worse than the Ravens. So, again, season's early. We'll see how it progresses. Just down one spot, and honestly, I could have probably dropped them a lot more. Because of the way they beat the Bengals, I just could not put the Bengals ahead of the Ravens. So, still good, number 7. And then up one is the Bills. The Bills, after losing that really bad Week 1 game, have bounced back and had 2 really, really nice weeks. Not against the greatest opponents in the world. I think the real test will be this weekend against the Dolphins, which is a 1 o'clock game. Kind of odd. I feel like that should be like, 4 o'clock or the night game or something. But, I mean, I'll take it, I guess. But yeah, that'll be a big game for them to see where they're really at because the last divisional game they played was the Jets, and Josh Allen played pretty bad, and the Dolphins are coming off a 70-point week, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the Bills have moved up how I wanted them to after that Week 1 loss, so they're up one spot to number 6, and then down 3 spots. Last week I said I can't wait for a couple weeks whenever the 49ers and the Cowboys play because that'll be the real test to see, who's number 1 between them. Because I had them 1 and 2 last week. And something crazy happened. The Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. I dropped them down 3 spots. And this is honestly mind-blowing to me. Because when you look at the Cowboys defense and what they've done to teams, are you telling me that they can't get and pressure and freak out Josh Dobbs? Like, no disrespect, because honestly, Dobbs has played about as good as you can ask from him without, Kyler Murray in there. But you have got to play better than that defensively. That was just crazy to me. And then offensively, I mean, you let the Cardinals really wreck if there even was a game plan, you couldn't really move the ball that great. Dak had a just wild interception in the end zone at the end of the game. I'm sure you guys have seen like the still shot of that because it wasn't there. The window was there earlier, but he waited way too long and just, I don't know. Really, really bad game. Very shocking to me. The Cowboys are still a really good team. I want to see how they bounce back from this because, again, they do play the 49ers in a couple weeks. And when you're playing a team that good, you better compete because losing to the Cardinals like that is it's pretty crazy. That's what I'll leave it at. So, Cowboys down 3 spots and a wild upset. Just 1 spot ahead of them is the Chiefs. It was kind of just watching like JV versus varsity. I mean, they played the Bears. I'm not sure what else to say. They played the Bears. That's about it. Chiefs, good team. They did what they were supposed to against the Bears, and that's really all there is to it. So they moved up 1 spot. Then the Eagles are still number 3 for me. They did not move up from last week. Honestly, because I didn't, they beat the Buccaneers, but again, it is the Buccaneers. It's not like the craziest opponent in the world. I think the Eagles are still a great team, but I'm not gonna move them up for just beating the Bears. I think it's kind of I don't know. But yeah, so they're number 3, and then up 2 spots from last week after their 70-point game is the Miami Dolphins. When you win a game that big, I gotta leapfrog a team, and it happened to be the Eagles. So no disrespect to Eagles fans, but when you have a week that good, I have to respect that and move them up for that. So they are 2. The 49ers are still 1. I could have said, 49ers dropped down to 2, Dolphins immediately to 1, but I think the 49ers are still the best team in the league, in my opinion. And the way that they've played has not warranted me to drop them just because the Dolphins had that good of a week. So I'm going to keep them at 1. The Dolphins go to 2. And that is what this week's power rankings are looking like. So let me know down below what you guys like or don't like about them, what I got wrong, what I got right, what your guys' thoughts are. Because this season is pretty crazy. Other than the Dolphins and the 49ers, in my opinion, no team really looks like that good. Like, even the Chiefs have struggled. The Eagles have struggled a bit. The Cowboys had that bad loss, obviously. Bills had a bad loss. So it's very interesting. I want to see where this season goes. Still very early on. These are my week 4 standings going into week 4 for my power rankings. So thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it. Make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel for more Madden and NFL content like this. NFL, we do more rankings every week. We do just random NFL videos like my CJ Stroud video. We do NFL tier list videos, which is, technically this. We do other type of rankings. We do, I'm going to try to do another NFL quiz video at some point. And then Madden, we do gameplays, pack openings, new promo content news, all that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching. I do really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a member on my channel, go to my channel page, and where it says subscribe, there should be a join button. Click it and choose the plan that best kind of fits your, whatever. But no worries if you can't. It doesn't matter to me. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all the support regardless. And I think that's about it. So yeah, my week picks will be out tomorrow. Be on the lookout for those. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.